Tennessee is the number one team in the country. It is 9-0. It is yet to win a game by single digits. Zakai Ziegler came into the postgame presser alongside Rick Barnes last night, and he's originally from the greater New York City area, I guess on Long Island. He had family in attendance and friends. He mentioned how the previous time this was the case when Tennessee played in the Garden, he had his injury. He was on a scooter. He played well. I think he's one of the most consistently reliable point guards in the country. Just a really, really good player who's been that for a while, but hasn't nudged up to the great level. And maybe he never will, but damn if he isn't just the right guy for this program. And Tennessee, Parrish, I don't know if Tennessee's the best team in the country, but right. I talked about this on HQ on Monday. I do believe it is the deserving number one team at this point.
That's a good way to put it.
It is absolutely. Again, no close games. Every single win is by double digits. Yet again, Rick Barnes has a top 3 defensive unit in the country. It's been a thing for 5 straight years now. His offense is good. Chaz Lanier has come in and been what they hoped he would be. And what they hoped he would be something similar in impact to Dalton Connect. He's shooting 48.6% from 3-point range. He was tremendous against Miami on Tuesday night. And Tennessee is the microcosm of what the SEC is right now. It's a really, really good, very dominant, ultra reliable team, and a very, very good, pretty dominant, ultra reliable conference. And it's the number one team in the country. And it's got a big one coming that we'll preview on our next pod on Friday. Tennessee plays at a very good Illinois team. That'll be arguably the game of the weekend in college hoops. It's either that or Gonzaga, UConn. But good stuff from Rick Barnes' team. Sometimes these outcomes can be just kind of ho-hum, and it was a little bit ho-hum, but at least a little bit of love for the Vols here, who have been able to beat Virginia, Baylor, Syracuse, Miami, won at Louisville. It's not an elite non-conference schedule, but there hasn't been one game that has been in doubt down the stretch.
Yeah, Tennessee 9-0, all 9 wins coming by at least 13 points. 4 of those wins over teams in the top 95 at barttorvik.com. So, do they have the same wins that some of the other elite schools have? No, not quite in terms of quality, but they're killing everybody. The computer numbers are strong. They've got a 0 in the loss column. I like the way you said that. I don't know if Tennessee's the best team in the country. I don't know that they're not. I don't know that they are. I do genuinely believe that they deserve to be number one in the AP poll right now, which they are. They're number one in the top 25 and 1 as of this morning for the 7th consecutive day. One last thing, then we'll move on Tennessee. And I just thought about this. I put no thought into it other than for the last 90 seconds while you were talking.
Okay.
Where does Rick Barnes belong on a list? And I'm giving somebody a project. I realize what I'm doing right now. Where does Rick Barnes rank on the list of coaches who have been fired, not for any scandal, but just because we don't want you to coach here anymore, and then goes on to do great things? He's now had 2 different teams ranked number 1 in the AP poll since he was fired by Texas. This is rare to have one school say, we don't want you coaching here anymore, not because you cheated, not because you got arrested, but because we just don't think
because your team sucked. Texas didn't suck. It was almost college football-ish in terms of it was, you know what it was? It was Mark Richt at Georgia. It was just good enough, but not to the level we need you. Like, you have stalled out here. And so that's why if there's some 17, 18, 19-year-olds listen to the pod that might not remember, this is why Texas and Rick Barnes, after a long marriage, decided to split, all those years ago.
Yeah. And I don't you're right. They never sucked. They did just sort of plateau. It was like, where is this going? It was one of those, but I think it was a long time ago. The way I remember it, at least, he was getting destroyed in in-state recruiting. Like Baylor, Texas A&M were just killing him in-state recruiting. And that became a source of complaining for the Texas fan base.
It was that and the NCAA tournament stuff. I mean, Rick Barnes got above 500 last season. I think going into last season's NCAA tournament, he was 25-25, which was a phenomenal stat. The fact that you'd make that many tournaments but not be above 500. It was also that Texas was underperforming its seed expectation more often than not. He did make a Final Four famously in 03. But those were the contributing factors, which isn't to say that they shouldn't have split. That's not the point you're bringing up. You're bringing up, has there ever been a coach that's had more success after the fact, after a situation like that? I don't know, obviously. It's an interesting thought experiment, but damn, Tennessee, your reality. I mean, you hired Donnie Tyndall at one point. He got himself caught in a scandal, and he was out barely before he arrived, and that leads to getting Barnes. And because of that, Tennessee has been one of the top 10 programs in the past 10 years in college basketball.
I'm proud to let you know Juwan Howard has entered the chat.
Oh, really? What did Juwan Howard have to say?
He just wanted to say what's up. John, he enjoys the pod. He says, "Keep up the good work."
Juwan, I appreciate you hopping.
I appreciate. It's good to catch up with Juwan. Good to see him here.